Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about Black Widow. So, overall it was a good movie, but in this video I will be diving into some spoilers. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, click away. I did do a spoiler-free review, so if you want to go to that if you have not seen it yet, and then come back to this after you've seen it. I'll give you 3 more seconds to click away. Now, after I beat up this bad guy, let's get into some spoilers. So, like I said in my spoiler-free review, the opening of this movie, I personally thought was amazing, and it might be my favorite part of the movie. Maybe if I rewatch it a couple more times, that might change. But I just love the opening with young Nat and young Yelana. Like, we see them as his family. They're growing up together. They really are like sisters. They seem like this happy family until we find out they're not a happy family. These adults aren't really their parents, and they're technically not biological sisters, even though they really do act like sisters. Because they seem like they have to leave quickly, and it looks like they ended up being chased by S.H.I.E.L.D., which I don't think it ever explains why they were chased by S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh wait, no, I think it did. Well, it explained why they were chased, not necessarily by S.H.I.E.L.D., I believe. Maybe I'll have to give it a rewatch. But, yeah, I thought that scene was amazing, and what I'm not gonna lie, what put some tears in my eyes was when they tried to take Yelena away, and Nat hit that guard and pulled out the gun, holding Yelena behind her, pointing the gun at everybody, threatening to kill them all if they didn't stay away. That moment was like awesome and emotional. I'm not gonna lie, that scene might have brought a tear or two to my eye. And that might have been the most emotional thing for me in this movie, I'm not gonna lie. And I thought the way they did that was amazing. But then Red Guardian talks him down, saying that they'll be fine because they're his girls, and his girls are the strongest girls in the world until they're given a shot and they go unconscious. And then we get this opening sequence, which even though it was kind of, creepy and disturbing, I also thought it was absolutely incredible. I wish I had. And it kind of reminded me of like a spy TV show, which they were probably going for. I heard that what I've heard is that it was similar to some James Bond films, which I haven't seen a lot of those, so I can't really say if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard, and I thought it was amazing. And that might be my favorite part. The beginning up to after they show the title Black Widow might just be my favorite part, but that could change later on. And then then it does cut to years later, but it felt so weird cutting to years later because it's after Civil War, and I didn't rewatch Civil War right before seeing this movie. I did do an MCU marathon rewatching all the movies, maybe a month or two before watching this movie. But still, it was like a month or two before watching this movie, so... And I did feel kind of bad for anybody who doesn't remember Civil War, because in that theater, if anybody didn't remember Civil War, they would probably be kind of confused. So that kind of sucks, because like I've said in my spoiler-free review, it definitely feels like it should have came out after Civil War. It shouldn't have came out when it did. It should have came out a couple years ago. And like I've said before, Spider-Man Far From Home should have been the first movie of Phase 4, and then Shang-Chi should have been the second, but whatever. And then all the action sequences in this movie I thought were incredible, especially the close-up hand-to-hand combat. Like, every time there was a fight with Taskmaster, I thought it was awesome. Whenever Yelena and Nat were fighting each other in that house in Budapest, or Budapest, however you say it, that was incredible. And even the fights towards the end, not the skydiving part was pretty cool, but before that, where she was in the room with Dracost and fighting all these bunch of widows, that was also really epic. And they weren't afraid to get a little brutal with the fighting, which I was okay with. And also, we learn what happened in Budapest, whatever, however you want to say it. Black Widow says it one way, her friend says it the other way, however you want to say it. We find out what happened, like that they mentioned in Avengers and a bunch of other movies. And apparently, what happened is we see that her and Clint were monitoring Dracoff, I think his name was, his daughter, to follow her to find out where Dracoff was, and when she found out that she was in the building with Dracoff, they blew up the building, killing Dracoff and his daughter, or so we think.
Too bad they have such a bad reputation.
Nat does eventually learn that Dracoff is not dead, so that's what kickstarts this mission in the first place. But that is what happened in Budapest, and something funny is that even Loki mentioned this all the way back in Avengers 2, because she said she has some red on, or she had some red she wanted to wipe out, and Loki was like, "Can you wipe out that much red?" And then he mentions Dracoff's daughter.
Hope it's safe out
And we had,
today.
unless you watch the comic books, or if you read the comic books, you won't know.
Hey there.
You won't know who that was until now. So that was cool how they teased it all the way back then. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Dracoff's daughter, let's talk about Taskmaster, because after we end up in the Red Room with Dracoff, Black Widow mentions about Dracoff's daughter, about killing her, and then Dracoff's just like, "What are you talking about? You gave me my greatest warrior." Taskmaster takes her mask off, and it's Dracoff's daughter. And I have mixed feelings when it comes to this reveal. On the one hand, I guess it is a pretty decent idea, a cool idea to have it be like, "Oh, I thought this person was dead. Oh, she's not really dead." Plus, it ties to Natasha's past, and it ties to her character arc. And it also is a decent way to subvert expectations from what Taskmaster was in the comics. But the thing is, I feel like it was really underwhelming. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it should have been a different person. Like, I've heard people say that it shouldn't have been Taskmaster at all. It should have been like, it should have been some other masked villain, like some sort of original masked villain instead of the Taskmaster. And I think I might agree with that, just because it did feel kind of underwhelming. I feel like they could have done Taskmaster better. I mean, she wasn't the worst, but she also wasn't the best, because her fight scenes were amazing, and I wish we had more fight scenes with her. Also, like, I also hope that she does return, because she is still alive, so hopefully she returns later on. And like I mentioned in the spoiler-free review, the new characters were awesome, especially Red Guardian and Yelana Belova for me. They were hilarious. Like, Red Guardian, the joke where he was trying to put his suit on was hilarious. He kept trying to, like, later on in the film, he kept trying to, like, apologize to Nat and be all, you know. And then every time he tried, it ended up not being Natasha. He ended up being the wrong person, or nobody at all. And then, and when it comes to Yelana, she was also hilarious, but in a completely different way. Like she kept making these funny remarks, like whenever they're breaking Red Guardian out of prison, and there's a bunch of guys fighting. She's in a helicopter with a bazooka, and this avalanche is coming, and she's just like, "This would be a cool way to die." And that was funny. And then later on, when she's about to, you know, she's in the Red Room, strapped down to this table, she's like, "This is a less cool way to die." And the part that I thought was the funniest, especially when it came to her lines, was when she made fun of Natasha's posing.
Help me, my brother.
Because like, in the film, she's talking to Natasha, and she's like, "Why do you do that thing they do?" And she's like, what do you mean?" You know, when you have your arm up in the air, one arm up in the air, one arm touching the ground, and you flip your hair back. It's a hero pose. You're such a poser. She's like, "I'm not a poser." And then later on in the film, Natasha jumps out of the helicopter, lands on the bridge to help Red Guardian, and she does that pose that we're used to seeing her do, and Yelena's just like, "Such a poser," and that was funny. And then even later on, she does it herself. She comes out of this...
Scared? I
What?
was scared. I'm not some king kisser or something.
Dude, I'm trying to review this.
Now that's what a
Come over here a second.
No, I'm trying to
We
do
got
something.
problems.
I'm trying to talk about Black Widow. Anyway, like I was trying to say, later on after that, when she like comes out of the vent, lands on the floor, she does that same pose, and she goes, "Ugh, that was disgusting." and it was, or something like that at least. And I thought it was hilarious. That was definitely my favorite part when it came to, you know, the comedy in that. I mean, but Red Guardian and Yelana Belova kind of just stole the show just because they were awesome and hilarious. And it was just the best. And I'm pretty sure Yelena's coming back, especially I'm pretty sure they said she was coming back in the Hawkeye show because of the end credit scene, which I will get to later. But we have no idea if Red Guardian will be returning or not, and I really, really hope he does return. Whether it's in a movie or a Disney Plus show, I don't care. I want to see Red Guardian again. He has to return. He has to. Like, he was one of the best characters in the movie, so he has to return. Please, Marvel, bring him back. I need more Red Guardian. And Yelena too, but I'm pretty sure she's coming back. I mean, especially in Hawkeye, and most likely at future projects too. But moving on, like, the finale was also okay. I think they could have handled the ending a bit better, just because I wasn't a fan of how they had, like, General Ross and a bunch of these other, like, police officers roll up, and Natasha's just standing there, goes fades to black, and then it cuts to Natasha in her Infinity War outfit, and with the blonde hair and vest. And she's talking to this person, and she flies off in a Quinjet. I feel like that could have been done better, just because, like, it's supposed to be 2 weeks later after she was caught by General Ross, or fought General Ross, or escaped from General Ross. I don't know. Something happened. I wish they did that better, because that was kind of confusing the way they ended that.
There's a crime happening near
But besides that, the rest of the movie wasn't too bad.
Teach those guys a lesson.
And like I'm pretty sure I've said before, I feel like this movie should have came out after Civil War. It shouldn't have came out when it did. But moving on to the end credits, which, if you're wondering, there's only one end credit scene. I know some of the Marvel movies have two, some have even more than that, especially Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 that has so many. This one only had one, probably because it's supposed to be the first movie in Phase 4, even though it really doesn't feel like it. But pretty much what happens is we see Yelena get out of her car, and now she has a dog, because early in the film she said how she would want a dog, and now she has one, and I thought that was awesome, and definitely put a smile on my face. I thought it was awesome. And then she goes to Natasha's grave, and I liked that part of the end credit scene. I thought that's what I was hoping it would be, was Natasha's family, or fake spy family, reacting to her death. And even though we didn't get to see Red Guardian or Melissa, is that her name? Natasha's fake mom? I forget. I wish we could see their reactions as well to her death, but we only see Yelena, so I guess that's okay. Hopefully we see the other two eventually sometime, especially Red Guardian, like I've said. But we see her reacting at her grave, and I like that part. And then we saw Val. I mean Valentina. Sorry, she doesn't like when you call her Val. And yes, the girl who showed up in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and offering John Walker some kind of like a job type thing shows up blowing her nose, but she said it's because, I believe, allergies. I think she said that's why. Ow. And then she says how it looks like Yelena has been working for her for a while now, because Yelena says how you're not supposed to bother me during my vacation time, so it looks like she has been working for Valentina for a little bit now. And then Valentina goes, how would you like to the next target who is responsible for Natasha's death? And then she gives her a picture that's Hawkeye. No, I wasn't really a fan of that twist. I'm like, really? I'm not sure I like that. Seeing Valentina was cool, but the fact that she's gonna try to blame Nat's death on Hawkeye, I'm not a fan of that. Especially because, one, not only is it annoying because I don't want Yelena and Hawkeye to fight, because they're two characters I think are awesome, but also it feels like it could be an easy fix, like just have a Clint be like, wait, no, that's not what happened, she sacrificed herself, I tried my best to stop her so that I could be the one to be sacrificed, but she insisted, and we even fought about it physically, like we actually beat each other up about it. But I have a feeling that they're gonna have her show up in the Hawkeye show, and they might have Clint be like, "Hey, that's not what happened. This is what happened," and have her be like, "Yeah, you're such a liar," and then they'll fight. I hope not. That feels like it could be an easy fix, and if it doesn't, it kind of seems like Yelena. I don't know. Kind of feel like she'd be like a very different person, like a more of a jerk. Even though she didn't seem like that big of a jerk in this movie, because she was awesome and hilarious. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Questionable
But
training taking place on the mountain earlier.
if you don't know, actually, something interesting about Valentina's appearance in this is that this was also actually supposed to be her first appearance in the MCU. Because their original plan before, 2020 and all that stuff happened, was to have Black Widow release and have Valentina show up in the end credit scene, and then in Falcon and Winter Soldier be like, "Hey, guess what? There's a huge cameo in this," and we'll be like, "Who is it?" And then it ends up being Valentina showing up and recruiting John Walker. But that didn't happen because, other stuff happened in the world. And because of that, stuff got moved. And now, Falcon Winter Soldier came out first, so we saw Valentina there first instead of Black Widow. I don't feel like it hurt anything at all, really. I mean, the only thing it did was kind of let some people down and wonder where the big cameo was, because we didn't know that the big cameo was going to be her, but they said that there was going to be one.
Down in the Cave of Dragons.
Besides that, I feel like it didn't really hurt anything. I don't think it would have mattered which one we saw when we saw her first. So I feel like there's nothing too bad with that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this movie. What did you guys think about this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was okay? What parts did you like? What parts did you hate? Do you agree with me? Do you think it should have came out all the way back in 2016 after Civil War, or do you think it came out in a decent spot? I want to know what you think. Also, do you think Red Guardian will return? I hope so. I'm pretty sure Yelena's returning. That seems pretty definite. But do you think Red Guardian will return? Because, come on, I need Red Guardian to return. He was awesome and hilarious. But what do you guys think? Do you think he will? Yes or no? Also, I have to say before we end that what might be my favorite part about this movie as a whole might have been being back in the theater to see a Marvel movie. I said this for my spoiler-free review, but I feel like I had to mention it again here just because walking through those doors, ordering the tickets, and of course the popcorn, the soda, the needs for the full movie experience was awesome, especially for a Marvel movie. Like, I've been to the theaters before after everything reopened, so I have been to the theater before, but one, it was empty. It was really empty. Like, I was like the only person there besides like a couple other people, and it wasn't a Marvel movie or a DC movie because, well, it was, I believe it was Raya and the Last Dragon was that the only movie I saw in 2021?
So
I don't know. It might be.
thinking
I'll
about
have
this
to
Kang guy,
double check.
and
But that's not the same as going to the theater to see a Marvel or a DC movie. And there was actually people in the theater, so that was awesome. But yeah. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought. Tell me what was your favorite part in the movie. I really like the beginning. I think that might be my favorite part, but that could change after rewatching it a couple more times. And let me know your favorite part. And feel free to spoil it, because, well, spoiler alert, this was a spoiler review, so if you stuck around and you didn't see it, sorry, but you had the whole thing spoiled for you, or at least most of it. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when I post and go live, so you don't always have to keep checking back on the channel. You can just get the notification. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next video. Keep kicking the wrong person. Yeah. Bye. See you in the next video.